Just a second. I got to get the volume turned down here. Okay. So I have my second tablet up. So sorry about that. Thought I had the sound turned down, but I was using it the other night. So the sound was up. So how is everybody? Happy Sunday, everybody. So I've been working all day. I got the videos done for the January bench buddies. So I did one last night and one today. So this is the first one. So I'm going to upload these during the break. So we're going to have a break from live classes for about a month. So I'm going to take a break. We're going to have class next Sunday. And then we're going to have about 4 weeks off. So that's going to be, better look at the calendar so I give you the right dates here. So that's going to be the 19th, the 26th, the 2nd of January, and the 9th of January. And we will start again on the 16th, okay, of January. So we'll have 4 weeks off. But I'm going to have 2 classes for you that I'm going to pre-record and upload for you. This will be uploaded the Sunday after Christmas. So on the 26th. So this is the little January rectangle bench buddy. So I've got this one videoed and then I will upload it for you. Okay. And then the following week, the day after New Year's, I will upload the square bench buddy, the January square bench buddy. So here's that one. Oh, people are coming in. Hi, everybody. So say something if you can hear me okay. I assume you're hearing me okay. Let me turn off the little banner and go to the comments, see if I can see. Okay, cool. Hi, everybody. Everybody hearing me all right? So anyway, this then will be uploaded on the day after New Year's. So and I just finished this one today. So this one has more steps to it because there's 4 little blocks and you sew them all together and then you got to do binding and everything. So, and the backing, but this one was fun. So I finished this up today. Awesome. Everybody's hearing me okay? Trying to see who's actually saying things because I don't get everybody's name on StreamYard. So I have to look over here at this other, my other tablet that was causing the problems here. So, okay. So those are going to be the classes coming up in January. These will be the interim classes that are pre-recorded for a couple weeks in January. And then we will continue on starting the 16th of January. I said 16th, isn't that what I said? And then we'll do the February bench buddies, and we'll also do let me get this up, 16th, 23rd, and 30th of January, and we'll have 2 bench buddies, and we're going to do the February ones, and then we'll also do a software class in there. So, okay, so that's what's coming up for the next couple months. Put these over here. But tonight we're going to start doing Christmas. And the 2 little Christmas pillows are so adorable. The one that we're going to do tonight is the little Christmas tree. And it's so fun. You do, you embroider. There's not a lot of embroidery on it. But then there's actually like a little stick that you put up the center of the tree. Now there is a version you can just use sewing in here, but I just thought the little stick was cute. And then you sew on the little buttons to make the tree. And then these ribbons, then you tie the ribbons on and then you kind of, cut them so they look like a Christmas tree. So this is really fun to do. And it has the envelope back, of course. So that's what we're going to do tonight. And then next week, we're going to do the square Christmas pillow. And this one is so cute. What we're going to do in the live class is this tag, the embroidered tag. And then I'm going to show you how to put the pillow together. Okay. I have a separate video that I will upload then right after class that teaches you how to actually piece this little top and all those little hourglass blocks. Okay. So I just did that as a separate video. Okay. So then we'll have a couple of videos for this one, but I just thought this was adorable. This is my favorite pillow, I think. I like the little present. Okay, so that one will be next week. Okay. Let's get this over here so we can see this one. So this is what we're going to do tonight. Kind of wait until we get a few people in here. So, but this is the one we're going to do tonight. And this one's done in a 5x7 hoop. Lay these up here. Second. Get everything organized. I'm going to go ahead. I've been sitting at my machine all day long at the camera. So I'm tired of sitting here in the seat. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and switch my cameras over. So I'm using the sewing machine camera. Second. And the other video or the other microphone. And get that one. Okay, is everybody hearing me okay still? I'm on the other microphone now, and here's my sewing machine, so hopefully you can see that. Looks pretty good on the Facebook. Whoops, second here, I just lost Facebook. Give me a second to get it back. Oh, there we go. Okay, everybody's giving me thumbs ups. Yay! So everything looks good. It wants me to cast it to my TV, but I don't want to do that. I just want to watch it on the tablet. I really like casting. I don't know how many of you do that, but I use casting that I can like watch something on Facebook. And if you want to see it bigger, you can actually cast it to your TVs or like a Roku. So that's really cool because then you can see it big on a bigger screen. So I really like that feature, but I don't need it right now. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the embroidery, and then I'm going to sew this together tonight. But the only thing I won't do is sew on the buttons in front of you because they take a little while, and I'll talk about doing the buttons with the one that I've already done. Okay, we'll do the trimming and everything. All right. So the only thing that's different, you need to have a few things. You know, you have to have your background fabric. It's 8x10, so I did a white, and it's got little snowflakes on it, and a Gigi hair. Okay, and then you want to put a piece of shape flex on the back of that. Okay, and then you need some border pieces and some backing pieces. Where did I write those? Behind me, I think. There we go. Need some border pieces, which are these two little short pieces. They're going to be on the top and the bottom of the little design. And then these are the backing pieces. Okay, a couple backing pieces. And I had this cool plaid that was from, I think this was from We Wish You Merry Christmas, as I remember. Had some scraps. And then you need some little red buttons. Now the little red buttons. Oh yeah, that works. Chromecast works great. So so then here is the little red buttons that we'll use. And I'll sew those on, but I probably won't do those in the class because you know how to sew buttons on. But I'll kind of show you what I did to put the buttons on the little tree to make it look like little ornaments. So, okay. Hi, everybody. Everybody's still saying hi. Hi, everybody. Okay. So that's the stuff you need. Oh, and then you need a piece of silver applique glitter. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, so I don't forget, is to take the carrier sheet, you know, off the glitter. So let me grab that. So the January, February, March, and April pillows, just so you know, are on a separate CD. So the one that we're working on now is September, October, November, December. So there's another CD, and that's up on the website, shieldsewingcenter.com, if you don't have it, if you want to do the little pillows in the early part of the year. So I've got the carrier sheet off my silver. This is going to be the little bucket on the bottom of the little tree. Okay. So got that. I'm going to lay that over here. And then the one thing that's different, and I have a tendency to do this, I don't care to use cutaway in most of the pillows because it sort of pulls when you go to put the pillow forms in. I did use like the January one that I just videoed today. One of the blocks really worked better with the cutaway. So I did go ahead and leave the cutaway in the one block. But the rest of them I usually use tearaway. So I am going to use a tearaway tonight. And I got my shape flex on the back of my fabric here. And this is going to go in a 5x7 hoop. So if you give me a second, got to find my glue stick here. So I'm kind of, weird about this, but I like to turn my fabric over. This is how I put them in the hoop. I like to take my fabric and my fabric glue stick, my Dritz fabric glue stick, and I'm just going to put some lines of glue down here. And I'm going to glue this to my, I do this with the quilts. It just seems to work for me. Most of the time, the fabric does not quite hoop in the hoop. Okay. And then I'm going to take this piece of fabric and I'm going to kind of center it the best I can on my stabilizer. See how if I can do this here. And then I'm just going to press it down to the stabilizer. And this just seems to work for me. Not all of their fabric, they don't cut all their fabric that large so that it actually hoops in the hoop. Now this one's going to be pretty close to hooping in the hoop. So, so I wouldn't have had to glue it, but it does just keep it from wrinkling a little bit more. Even with the shape flex, you can sometimes get a few wrinkles. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take our 5x7 hoop and hoop this in the hoop. Oh, and I forgot the most important part that you need. Just a second here. I'll get this hoop. We'll hoop it first, and then I'll show you. So I'm just going to take my hoop, and just an FYI, I think I've shown you this before, but you know these hoops do have an up side, and the loop part on the inside does have. This is a Brother baby lock hoop, and there's a little arrow right here, and that is up. Just so you know. So if you hoop it the other way, it doesn't tighten quite as well. This is up, that little arrow, and not all the hoops have that, but the smaller ones, the smaller ones all have the arrows on them. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to kind of eyeball this and get it kind of centered here, best I can, and then I'm going to press this into the hoop. It doesn't need to be perfect. We're going to trim this and it'll be fine. Okay. Tighten this up. Oops. So how's everybody doing today? It's been kind of a dreary day. Good day for staying in. I worked all day. Okay. There we go. So I get it all in there. I think I need to tighten it just a little bit. Okay. But the most important thing that I forgot to tell you that you have to have for this. Now you don't have to. There's a way. There's a way to do this without. So they give you two options. But I went outside of our store, and we have a little tree out there, and it had a broken limb. So you need a little twig. It needs to be about 5 inches, 6 inches long, something like that. It says 4 inches here, but I think I made mine just a little bit longer because it seemed a little short to me. Oh, so cool. People said they quilted today. But anyway, this is the important part. You got to have a little twig. They do give you another version to do this, like embroidered twig, but and it's in the back of the instructions. I'll show you when we get there, but I am going to use the little twig in it. Okay, so here's my little twig. So I got that up here ready to go. I've got a number 11 needle in the machine, and I've got my regular bobbin thread in the bobbin. Okay, so I think we got the shape flex on the back of our main fabric. There's the couple things at the beginning there. And then we took off the carrier sheet off of our applique glitter. Okay, so that's the first few instructions. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hoop this. I'm going to put this in the machine. And I think we're going to start with the little bucket. So I'm going to use silver metallic thread. So I'm using the King Star Metallic. This happens to be MA1, which is technically aluminum. Oh, somebody said they did the Marion Bright pillow. I can't see it on here. Just a second. Can't tell who's telling me. I sewed the Marion Bright 9-inch wreath pillow. Yeah, it is really cool. So who is it that said that? I can't see who said that. That's cool. So we're going to use MA1, and MS1 is the other silver. It's more bright. This one's a little bit darker, and it seemed to match my applique glitter a little better. So that's the one I used. Okay. Oops, second here. So I'm going to go ahead and thread the needle, and I'm so excited. Tim replaced the little. Oh, Lisa Labrie. Cool. Thanks, Lisa. It's really cool. I got a see if my Second, yeah, it's working. Yeah, it's working. Tim replaced the little cutter thing on the side of my machine on Friday, and the little blade was dull. And so when I would go to thread some of the threads, especially metallic, it wouldn't thread the metallics because it didn't cut very well, and then it would like pull too tight, and then it wouldn't thread. So I'm so excited because now my metallic threads. I was getting tired of rethreading, trying to have to thread it by hand all the time. So, okay. So I'm going to use MA1, my silver. This is aluminum is what they call it. Going to get my design up in here. I forgot to bring my design up. Just a second here. I've been sewing all day. Whoops, we're not in January anymore. We're back to December. Got to find the December ones. There we go. PES December. And we're going to do the tree, and it's the tree. I think it says rectangle, and it's the first one with the straight. It has like you can tell which one. There's one that has a kind of a curvy line, and the one that we're doing tonight, it has the straight line down the middle. That's the one that's going to have the little twig in it, okay? Somebody else had to have their cutter fixed, yeah. Okay, so the first thing it's going to stitch out is actually the little handles to the bucket. So we'll get that. There's not too many colors in this, so we're going to sew out the little bucket handles here. And this is this is on page 2, instruction number 6. This is number 1 on the machine. So we'll do the little bucket handles. Yeah, for some reason my computer, my tablet, I might go out of my tablet and then come back in because I can't see the comments. Oh, there we go. Now I can. I can see people's names on Facebook, but I can't see people's names on StreamYard. So unless you've okayed it, whoops, looks like I need to do my second handle again. Didn't pick up the bobbin thread. Well, when that happens, you take this out and you rethread the bottom as well as the top, because you know what? It's never the one you don't do. So we got to do the second bucket handle. Okay, let's see if there's any thread down there that we need to get rid of. Nope. Nope, it was just being testy. Let's rethread the machine. Don't know why I didn't want to sew it. Maybe my machine's tired. I've been sewing a lot today. I've been sewing all weekend. We had a class on Saturday, and okay. Oops. Let's see if we can get the second handle. It was just the second handle that didn't go. The first one was fine. There we go. All right. I just backed up until I got to the second handle. Let's see if it makes it this time. It's not very big. There we go. There we go. Now it's happy. Okay. So now we're going to do some applique. And the next step is going to be the placement line for the bucket. I did notice I have a little bit of a thread here, so let's get this before I forget it. I like to try to keep that up on that so I don't forget. Okay, so then I'm going to do the placement line for the number 2 in the machine. Is going to be the placement line for the little bucket. Oh, Jackie, you had to have your cutter fixed. Yeah, I think I can see everybody's names now. Okay, so here's my placement line. So I just left my metallic thread in, and I'm going to go ahead and lay my little piece of applique glitter over that. And then I'm just going to hold mine. I don't like to have to tape, so I'm just going to hold it in place. It does move a little bit, so you need to hold it. If you're worried about putting your hands in here, just use some tape. And I think this one has, I'm trying to see if this one has pack down, trim. I don't know that this one had it. I think it might be raw edge. I can't remember. I think it's raw edge applique. Yes. So we're just going to trim. And give me a second. I need to grab something here. Pull it all the way over here. We're just going to trim close to the stitches. But this is raw edge, so don't get all the way up to the stitches. Leave just a little teeny, you know, a little bit. Maybe less than 1/8 of an inch. But this is going to be raw edge. But we're going to trim first. And then we're going to press it down with the pressing cloth. Didn't get quite close enough on this one. Let me see if I can get it a little bit better. There we go. And along the bottom here. This is a fun, easy one. Here's our little bucket. Didn't do the greatest job of trimming there, so let's see if Jan can do a little bit better job. Sometimes I have trouble trimming. Of course, I've been trimming all day too, so maybe that's it. Okay, make sure if you've got a little pieces of that stuff, you don't have anything around your design, because it will stick down if it gets, you know, ironed on. Okay, so now we're going to take this over to, and I'm just going to tip the camera up here. Okay, I'm going to take this over to my wool pressing mat over here. And I love this little iron. Here's my little iron. This is so wonderful because, see, it fits in the hoop. I don't have to, you know, I don't have to worry about the size of it. It fits right in the hoop. But I try to pick one even that would fit in the 4x4. Okay, so we're going to cover this up with a pressing cloth. And then I'm just going to press down on my bucket for about 20 seconds. Put a little weight on it for about 20 seconds. And then we'll let it cool just a little bit before we stitch anymore. Okay, so there's the little bucket all pressed down. And you do need to press it, because if you start sewing on it, it will kind of pucker it if you don't press them down. Now, so there's times when they tell you not to press it because they're doing an effect with it. So, okay, so we got that pressed down. And that was step number 7 in the book on page 3. And now we're going to do the star. And I'm going to make my star gold. So I'm going to do my gold metallic. This is the King Star metallic. So I'm going to do the gold. I think I've used MG2. Second here, I got to find my thing to hold it. Otherwise they unravel all over. Okay, MG2. Oh gosh, everybody, it's so exciting. My metallic threads again. It was a bummer when it didn't. Because then I had to hand thread everything. Hi everybody. Some people are still saying hi. Hi everybody. Okay, so now step number 4 is going to be the little star on the top. So I'm going to do it in gold too. There wasn't a ton of embroidery in this one. And it was kind of fun. I mean, what they did with this, with the little stick and everything, was really kind of fun. I was a little leery when I started working on it. I thought, how is this going to be? How is this going to work? But it seemed to work quite well after I kind of got the hang of getting the little thread, the little ribbons tied and everything. So that's the other thing. Oh, I forgot to tell you about the ribbons. So you have to have a bunch of little ribbons. They're 9 inches long, and I think there's 8 of them. So I had like 4 different ribbons, and I'm just gonna lay them out here. I had 4 different flavors. They're all green, of course, because it's green. And we'll lay those down. about done with the star. I always like to let the vinyl cool just a little bit before I sew anything. Now this one I wasn't sewing on it right away, but sometimes if it's a little hot, it just seems like it wrinkles a little bit on me, so I like to let it cool off. Okay, so there's our star. We did that in the gold metallic. And then the next step is going to be a placement line for your ribbons. Now it does say a note in here that the stitch will be seen in the final product. I don't know that it really is. I don't know if you can see or not, but there's a line down underneath where the ribbons are, and I couldn't see it. So I did make mine green like the ribbon. Excuse me. My throat's dry today. I've had to talk through a lot of videos. Get a drink of water. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to a green that kind of matches my ribbons here. And this is the Brother Meadow Green. It's 1089. So I'm just going to use this green to do this. When they said it was going to show, I thought, well, I'll just make it a green that matches the ribbon then. So, okay, this is step number 5 in the machine. Step number 9 in the instructions. Turn my page. This is where it gets kind of fun. Okay, so here's our little placement line. So this is going to help us get our ribbon in here, okay? How's my dad? My dad is doing fine. Thank you for asking. He's in the living room watching TV. Okay, so place the ribbon right side down, starting at the top of the tree with the ribbon horizontally centered on the placement line. Okay, so what I did is I just picked a ribbon. Doesn't matter what color it is. So I'm just going to pick one. Let's see. I'm going to kind of spread these out a little bit. Okay. And I just kind of, finger pressed a little center in here. So I knew where the center was. And I'm going to put the center of the ribbon on that line right there. And it said to put it at the top. So I put it right at the top. Okay. And then it says repeat direction 10 for the 7 remaining ribbons. Tape in place directly on top of the placement line. So I'm just going to kind of alternate these because I have 4 different colors of green ribbon. I'll just kind of finger press it here. And I'm just going to slip these in here. And you're putting the right side down. Okay. Now, like this one here that I've got is 2-sided, so it doesn't matter. But the rest of them are all 1-sided. Okay. I'm going to put this one in there. And then this one. So I'm just going to kind of alternate them again. Do the same thing in the same order. Okay. And then here's the center. And then we'll go back to the first one. And I think this is like 3/8 inch ribbon, something like that. I'm going to go in here. And try to keep them as centered as you can. There's a little wiggle room. We're going to be cutting some of this ribbon off, so they just made them all the same size so you could put them wherever you wanted. I'm just kind of finger pressing the centers there, so I can kind of put the little finger press on the center there. Okay. These were fun. Kimberbell is always very inventive with fun things like this. Okay. And then one more. So you can see that I have a little extra space. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull these apart. But I wanted to kind of get them all in here so I could get them all on here. Because you want them to go from the bottom of that line to the top. And then you might need to respace them just a little bit. So I'm going to space them apart just a little bit more so that they're a little bit further apart so that they cover that whole area. Okay, hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Trying to make sure you can see. I think you can see me okay. I'm just going to pull these apart just a little bit so they look relatively close. You know, they don't have to be perfectly centered, which they're not, definitely. Okay, and then once you get that done, we're going to take the Kimberbell paper tape. I got my cool tape dispenser in my Bella box, but you know what? You can get a new tape dispenser now. If you didn't get the Bella box, if you want a tape dispenser, they have a tape dispenser, and it's orange. It's very cute. Okay, so I'm going to turn this way, and I'm going to tape right down the center of this. Okay, I'm just going to tape right down the center and try not to move anything when I put the tape down, and I'm going to tape right down the center. That way, when it goes to sew it down, it's not going to catch on anything. Okay, so we're going to tape it, and it says tape in place directly on top of the placement line, and then number 6 in the machine is going to be, it's number 12 on the instructions. Stitch the ribbon tack down line, twig placement line. So we're going to put this in, and it's going to stitch down that center section again right over the tape. And then we're going to remove the tape. I just thought this was really cute. Now there is another version of it. It's in the back. So if you want to do the other version, it's like on page 7, and you can do it with you still put the ribbon down, but then it sews a little trunk in there with the embroidery. So instead of putting a little tree trunk in there. All right, so now we're going to take this tape off. Oops, let's see if I can get a hold of it here. Got it all sewn down, and it didn't catch on any of our tape or any of our ribbon. Pull that off. I always have trouble with stuff like this because I always get ribbon in or tape in there. So now I got to get some of the tape off, but never mind me. See if I can get some more of the tape off. I didn't do very well, did I? And it's not going to show because there's going to be the little twig over this, but I'm going to try to get as much of it off as I can. I don't like to sew through tape because this is what happens to me. Try not to, but in this case we had to. All right, so that's not going to show. It's just a little bit in there, but it won't show because the little twig's going to be on top of it. Okay, anything that's loose I'm going to try to get off though. Yeah. Okay. So then step number 13 is place the twig completely covering the placement line. So I'm going to get my little twig. Now my twig, I made a note. They said 4 inches. I made mine about 4.5, and I think this might be just a little bit long yet. So I might actually trim it off. Let me see how long mine is. Mine's just a little bit long yet. Because you want it to go down, you know, you want it to be above here. And then you kind of want it to go down on the bucket, kind of, so that it looks like it's down in the bucket. Let's see how long mine is. So it's a little bit longer than I want it. So I have to cut it off. I'll just get my icky scissors over there and cut it off. Okay, 4.5. It's about 5 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut just a teeny little bit off the bottom, I think. Yeah, I like the top of it, but I think I'm going to cut just a little bit off the bottom down here. Okay, so let me get my scissors here. I'll just cut a little bit off. And I remember I kind of had to break it a little bit too. I got it started and I kind of broke it. There we go. So I think that'll be better. There we go. Okay, so there's our little twig in the center there. And mine's got a little bit of a bow to it, so I'm just going to see which way it likes to lay, and that's the way it's going to be. Like that. Okay. Get my scissors out of the way. And then it says, tie the top and bottom ribbon first. This will prevent twig from shifting. Tie remaining ribbons around the twig as illustrated. This will secure the twig in place. So what I did, let's bring this up just a little bit. I tied these in kind of a square knot. So if you go over, I tied them in kind of a square knot so they may have a nice knot. So I'm going to go ahead and do this side. And then you start with the other side to to do the other half of the knot. Hopefully you can keep everything going the same way, but I didn't do very well with that one, so I'm going to try it again. It's hard for me to tie. It's a little bit a wrong angle for me. I'm not the best tire anyway. You have to push this up a little bit. Decided it was going to scoot down on me. Let's try tying the bottom one first. I think I ended up tying the bottom one first, and it seemed to work better for me instead of the top. Let's try that. Okay. Try again here. There we go. Get a little cut here, and I think, oops, and try to keep your one-sided ribbon turned with the pretty side up with any luck at all. Doesn't always work. Okay, so there's that one. Let's see how we did here. Oops. Looks like I broke my top of my little stick off. All right, and then let's try this one again. So you should do the top and the bottom first, because then it's easier to tie the center ones. I think I did tie them actually in a knot, so I'm going to go ahead and tie it. There. Did better on that one. I may have to try this one again. So I got that one better. I'm not the best tire in the world, so I found this a little difficult. We'll try this one again. There we go. There. That looks better. Okay. So then we're going to start tying. We'll tie another one up from the bottom. This one will be easier to tie because it's two-sided. Okay. And let's do another one at the top. You kind of have your stick where you want it, so you don't have to try to move it after you get these tied. Let's see if we can get, whoop. I'm all thumbs tonight, guys. I think I've been working too long today. All right, there we go. Okay, let's go down and get another one down here. So you're just going to kind of work your way up and tie all of them. And you want them tied pretty snug, you know, so nothing will move. But I just kind of worked back and forth from the bottom to the top so that it would stay put as I was working. But I thought this was really cute. I like the little stick in it. And this is a stick from, like I said, from the store. we had a tree that had a limb that came down, and I went out. Actually, the limb had been laying there forever because I think it actually came down in the derecho, and it was laying there for all these months, and I went out and took a piece off of that. All right. So this one, I didn't do very well with that, but I may have to alter these a little bit, but okay. So how am I doing? Let's do this one, last one. Let's see if I can get this one tied. There. Did pretty well. This one here is kind of goofy yet, so had trouble with that bottom one, didn't I? We'll try it one more time. See if I can get the second half of the knot tied better. It doesn't want to cooperate with me. So I'm kind of trying to do square knots because then the knots look nice. There we go. That's better. What do you think? I do better with the knots then? Okay. Then what you're going to do is you're going to kind of lay your ribbons down, you know, so they're laying pretty flat. And then you're going to make a tree. So what I did is I just kind of decided, I like the little twig too. I think that's the cutest part. I just thought that was adorable. So then what I did is you kind of want to turn it to the side, and then we're going to kind of go up this way so that you're angling up like a tree. Okay. And you know, every tree is a different shape, so whatever your shape ends up, your shape ends up. So I'm going to grab my bigger scissors here. And it was easier for me to start from the bottom and work up. So I'm just going to I don't think I'm going to leave these quite as long at the bottom even. So I'm just going to trim them up a little bit. So, but I'm just going to start kind of trimming up towards the top. Like that. So there's one side. What do you think? That look okay? Get the extra ribbon out of the way. That looks pretty good. And then I'll turn it this way. And it worked better for, we'll see, it might be okay I might be able to do that from this way. We'll see. This side, let's see if we can do this side from this side, from the top. It's pretty good. And we kind of want to angle down like you're going to have a tree, you know. So, and you can always trim it a little bit. I had to trim the other one just a little bit. But just kind of get your basic shape. Okay. I think I like those two, so I need to cut them off a little bit more. There we go. There. Okay, so my tree is still a little full. I might actually adjust that a little bit more. Okay. So what do you think? I think it needs to be adjusted a little bit more. Just kind of looking at the picture of theirs to see how it went, but I think that looks pretty good. And then the next trick, what they tell you to do is to I didn't want to sew the buttons on until after I had ironed this and trimmed it. So what I'm going to do tonight is I'm just going to talk you through sewing the buttons on. Now they removed it from the hoop and then they put the buttons on. So there's a couple ways to do your buttons. You can do them by hand, of course. I wanted to trim this and then put the buttons on because I had a little trouble with the size. You know, it was just hard for me to hang on to it. So you can do it now. You know, they have you doing it now. And I just kind of ironed around the outside edge. And then I put my buttons on. So what I did with my buttons, but I did mine after I trimmed it. I trimmed it first. Okay. And I'm not going to sew the buttons on tonight for you. I'm just going to show you kind of how I did it. Because it took me a while to do it. And I may have to do a little bit more altering of my tree shape here yet. But what I did is I took 10 little buttons. I suggested 10 little buttons, and I just kind of started randomly putting the buttons on. And I made sure that there was some kind of like on each area, each level of the tree. And I just sewed them on by hand. These are kind of small to do on the machine. I like to sew them on with the machine, but I found that I had a really hard time sewing on with the machine. I tried, but they're so small, they don't work as well. So I did these by hand. So just kind of what I did is I kind of looked at the picture here. You know, I just kind of looked at the picture and kind of saw how they did it. And then I just sort of emulated how they did it. And I just put the little buttons on. The buttons, this is the buttons that came with my kit. So they weren't the Kimberbell buttons, but I've got the Kimberbell buttons. And they're those cute as a button buttons, the little ones that have like the little polka dots and the plaid and stuff. They're so cute. So these are the ones I'm going to use on the one that I'm going to do tonight. Okay. And I think I might need to adjust my ribbons just a little bit more, but I'm going to sew at the end. I would tell you to sew your buttons on, maybe trim the block and then sew your buttons on before you put the back on. Okay. But I'm going to go ahead and put my back on tonight because I want to show you how to do the back and everything. And so I may have to adjust this before I put the buttons on later. Okay. Does that make sense to everybody? Because it was hard to do all of this in one class and actually get all those buttons sewn on because it took me a half an hour or so to sew all those buttons on. But does everybody understand this so far? What I did is I made the tree shape. Now, like I said, I may have to do a little bit more adjustment. I'm not sure that I'm happy with it. I think it needs to angle up just a little bit smaller at the top, but I'll play with it just a little bit more before I finish the buttons. Okay, so everybody understand what I did? And then I just sewed the buttons. So I would tell you we're going to trim it next. So I tell you to trim it and then put the buttons on before you do the rest of the sewing like I'm going to do tonight. Okay, and I'm just going to put my buttons on at the end just because I need to be able to sew it together for you. Okay. All right, so we're going to do the trimming next. Does anybody have any questions so far this way? Isn't that cute? Yeah, I think I want my, it looks pretty good though. I might make these, the top ones just a little shorter. I think it needs to angle in just a little bit more, but I'll play with it a little bit more. But I thought it was so fun and I love the little stick in there. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and go on to, is it okay if I go on to the trimming? We'll do the trimming next. So this is the way I tell you to trim it and then put your buttons on before you do the sew the back on. But I'm going to sew the back on tonight. I'll have to deal with the buttons through the back, but that's okay. It'll be fine. All right. So I'm going to take this out of the hoop now. Isn't it cute? I just thought it was adorable. I don't think a second here. The comments are not coming through again because I can't see who's saying things. Oh yeah, cute way to do the branches. Yep. Okay, so now I'm going to take this out of the hoop and I'm going to take this over to my ironing pad for a second, and I'm just going to press down around the outside edge so it's nice and flat. So I like it to be flat when I'm trying to, and just don't touch your glitter vinyl with the iron. I just like it to be flat when I'm trying to do the trimming. And then I'm going to move the camera over here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. All right. So I got that iron down. Get the mat out of the way here. Then let me move the camera over here so you can see what I'm doing. I don't have a place to put a table like next to me like I normally do when I do the trimming. So I have to move the camera. So sorry, guys. We'll move it back. I'm trying to get around my arm, my embroidery arm here. Okay. Then you can see better what I'm doing. Okay. All right, so we're going to use our orange pop rulers. Get this out of the way. Put this up so I can see. And this one is going to be in the 6.5 by 8.5 inch pop ruler. So I'm going to grab, and it says place the ruler with bucket 1/2 inch from the bottom edge. So I'm going to get my 6.5 by 8.5 inch ruler, second here. This one, and we're going to visually put it in there, and I'm going to measure down about 1/2 inch from the bottom of my bucket and put a little mark there so I know where the bottom needs to be. So we're going to go ahead. This is kind of crooked, so what did I say? What did it say? Oh, 1/2 inch. Okay, there we go. So about 1/2 inch from the bottom of the bucket. Let's go this way. So there's my 1/2 inch. So that's where we want it to get the bottom of the ruler to be. Okay. About 1/2 inch below. Okay. Then we're going to center this. Looks pretty good. Let's see here. I was kind of crooked when I got this in, so it's okay. I can kind of tell if I'm centered or not in the hoop by looking at also at the lines over here with my fabric. And I was kind of crooked in the hoop, I know. So we'll do the best we can. I think it needs to go this way a little bit. What do you think? That look pretty good? Pull that down just a little bit. Looks pretty good. And then, let's see here. I'm kind of looking at my leaves here. See if they look pretty even. I think so. So what do you think? That look pretty good? And then I like to put the bigger ruler on over the top so that I can hang on to something a little bit better here. Like that. And then I'm going to trim this out. So this is going to be the 6.5 by 8.5. So I'm actually trimming in the smaller one, but the bigger one's just for me to help me hang on. I'm going to turn this towards me. I'm going to take my rotary blade and I'm going to lay it inside the ruler. I'm going to kind of pull back to the corner and I'm going to push forward. Now I'm using the Martelli roundabout to help me because then I can just turn this like this. Yep, so it says place ruler with bucket 1/2 inch from the bottom edge. So we measured that 1/2 inch. Okay. And one more. Like that. Okay. Take this out. We've got a couple more things to do though. Second here. There we go. We're going to leave the stabilizer on there. And now it says cut all edges of the block. Okay, so we did that. And then it says remove the embroidered block from the orange pop ruler. The block will now measure 6.5 by 8.5. Trim 1/4 inch from the left and right sides of the block. So it needs to be a little narrower. So we're going to go ahead and turn this. And it says to trim 1/4 inch from the left and right side. So I'm going to take my regular rotary ruler here. And I'm going to lay the edge on the 1/4 inch line on my ruler, and I'm just going to trim a 1/4 of an inch off this side. And then I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to do a 1/4 inch off the other side. So then it's going to measure 6 inches wide. Okay. Here we go. There's the other 1/4 inch. And so now it's going to be 6 inches wide. Then you're going to trim a 1/2 inch off the top of the block. This block will now measure 6 by 8. So remember we had it in a certain place at the bottom. Now we're going to do a 1/2 inch off the top. Okay, so we're going to put this mark on my 1/2 inch mark and trim off a 1/2 inch on the top. Okay. So now, with any luck at all, this measures 6 by 8. 6 did pretty well by 8. Okay, so there's our 6 by 8 little block. Okay, so we had some special trimming instructions, but we started with the orange pop ruler. Okay. All right, so now at this point, I am going to remove my stabilizer after I've trimmed it. And it's easier to get the buttons on with the stabilizer off. So that's why I did my trimming and then I put the buttons on with the stabilizer off. It was easier to get, the buttons thrown on without the stabilizer on there. So that's how I did mine. And I'm not going to put the buttons on tonight because I want to show you how to, finish it. So we won't have time to get all the buttons on. So I'll do those later. All right. So I'm just going to pull some of the stabilizer off. Okay, I just left it inside the bucket. That's fine. All right, so there's the little center of our little pillow. Isn't that cute? So we're ready to go on to the next step. Now we're going to do some sewing. So I have to switch my machine over for sewing, and I'll move the camera back. So we're going to do a little sewing. So give me a second here while I move the camera back, and then we'll switch into sewing mode here. Anybody got any questions? Everybody understand so far what we did? It's pretty easy. And the only thing that was the hardest part was sewing all the buttons on because there was so many of them and they were little. And I'm just not a very good button sewer anyway. So I had a little hard time with the buttons. So if you hear yelling, that's me trying to get the buttons on tonight later. Okay. After I've been sewing and making videos all day. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to sewing. And I'm going to go, whoops, I got to put my foot on here. Get my J foot. I'm going to put my J foot on and use the piecing stitch. Okay. And then I'm going to use some red. I've got some red cotton thread. This is my red cotton Pima cotton thread. Put that in here. Really like this Pima cotton thread. In fact, I'm going to go buy some tomorrow. It's on sale. You know, you probably could. The only problem is with, I don't know who asked me if you could glue the buttons on. I'm not getting my comments through very well, so sorry, guys. Denise, yes, I think you could, but these little buttons don't stay on very well with the hot glue. No, you sew the buttons on through the fabric. Sew the buttons on through the fabric. That's why I wanted to take the stabilizer off before I wanted to take the stabilizer off before I sewed the buttons on, because it's a lot easier to get through this fabric. Okay, but no, I thought about gluing them on, and I normally glue buttons on, but I like to glue the bigger buttons. These little ones just don't stay on very well if you glue them. So I have glued a few on, and then I found that they like to come off because they're so small. There's just not enough glue on them, you know, to hold them really well. The bigger buttons hold fine with the glue, but these are pretty small. So I did go ahead and just sew them on. I don't enjoy sewing buttons on at all, but I did on this one. And I just kind of randomly, wherever they ended up, they ended up. I didn't really get too worried about, you know, where they were or anything. All right, so I've got my sewing foot back on. I'm going to go to the Q tab on my luminaire and go to Q02, which is the piecing stitch. Move the needle over for me. And let's see what it says to do next. It says to, with the right sides together, to put the borders on the top and the bottom. So I got to find my borders back here. Okay, so we're going to put those little narrow borders on with a 1/4 inch seam. Give me a second. I got to plug my foot controller in too. Okay. So we're going to put our little borders on here. And they did a really interesting back for this one because of the, I think it's because of the stick. So I like the way they did the back for this one. All right, so we're going to do our 1/4 inch seam. I'm using the piecing stitch. Oops, can't get a hold of it. I think I'm a little crooked here. There we go. These were so much fun. I wish that the comments were coming through better. Sorry, guys. I'm missing a few comments, so I'm trying to look at both screens because they're coming through on StreamYard really well, but they're not coming through on Facebook very well on my tablet for some reason tonight. They usually come through better there. Okay, so let's put the other one on. We're going to do the same thing on the other side, top and bottom. Kimberbell's all about the embellishments. Sometimes that's my hardest part. So the hardest part for me on this pillow was getting those little buttons sewn on. But they make it so cute. Okay. Okay. So then we're gonna I'm gonna finger press these out. I might go get my little iron real quick and just iron them. And then I'll show you how you do the back. This one was really fun. The January ones are really fun too, so I think you'll enjoy the videos. I have to finish up the last video tonight. I just need to splice it together because I did it in 2 chunks. It kind of took a little while because there's 4 little blocks in the one, and so you have to kind of, it took most of the day to do that, but I had to do 4 blocks and then do the sewing too. So, all right, so there's the little top, and I'm just going to press this real quick with my iron. I'll lay my ironing mat back over here. I've been having trouble with my iron, so irons and me are not getting along very well right now. My brand new iron does not work well, and it was $200, so I'm not very happy. Gotta get another iron. Should I make them replace it or give me my money back? One or the other. I've had it for a month. Okay. So yes, so somebody asked, do you sew the buttons through the material or just the ribbon? You through the material. So it holds everything down. I'm going to go out and come back in again and see if I can see some more of those comments. I'm sorry, guys, because it's just not coming up here so I can see who's asking. Oh, that was Jan. Thank you, Jan. Yes. So you're going to sew through the fabric. And it is a lot easier to you know, to sew them on without the stabilizer in there. That's why I like to take the stabilizer out. Okay. Then we're going to do just the back. So, but the back was kind of neat. It's an envelope back, just like all the other ones. So there was 2 pieces that were, let me see how long they were. The backing was, the back pieces were 5 by 10. But what they did is they have you do the, instead of like doing a little short thing at the top and then a long one at the bottom, they did 2 long ones, and then it opens up this way. And I thought that was kind of cool because, you know, all of these would probably go in better if they opened up this way, right? Or up vertically. So the 2 pieces, and I think the reason they had to do that is because of the stick in there. Because otherwise you couldn't get it in without breaking your stick for your tree. Okay, so what you do first, of course, is you do on the long side this time, instead of the short side, the long side, you're going to turn down 1/4 inch and turn down 1/4 inch and then just hem it. And I've already done that on these. Okay, so there's my hemmed little backs. And then I'm going to lay these down over the tree. And I think I'm going to take a little tape, just a second here. These that are a little bit long, I don't want to catch them. Second here. I'm going to take a little tape, and I'm just going to tape them back because I didn't put the buttons on yet. See, I put the buttons on before, and it kind of holds them down. But I'm just going to move these up so that I won't get them caught in my seam. Since I don't have my buttons on yet, I'll just tape them up out of the way. Whoops. This one needs to come up too. There we go. Let's tape them up out of the way just to keep me from catching them. Because I would. Okay. And then we're going to line up the right sides together. And then we're going to put the, you know, hemmed edge on the inside. And then we're going to match up these raw edges. This is an easy back. It's just done kind of like the opposite of the way most of these little rectangle ones have been. I thought it was kind of cool. I actually might do some of my rectangle ones like this. I like it because you can, it's easier to get the pillows in and out. You know, going through the top is a little hard because they're kind of long and slim, and kind of like this. Back like this. It works just fine. Okay, and then we're going to go over here. And it's going to overlap, of course. Oh, and next week's pillow is so cute. I really enjoyed these last 2. They're really fun. Okay, get that, and then we'll do the other side. The right sides together. And ouch, those pins are sharp. I love these pins. They are very sharp, though. And I bleed regularly. Okay, so I always like to know where, you know, that overlap is, because we're going to sew over that a couple of times because of, sometimes you need a little extra strength in there. And see, it does overlap a good 2 inches, maybe more. Okay. All right. And then put this one. So that's where the overlap is. And here's the other overlap. So that's where we're going to sew over it a couple times because we want to make sure that it's good and strong in there. So when you go to put the pillow in. Okay, so now we're going to stitch. I'm going to leave my Q02 on here, and we're going to, I like to start at one of these spots. Put the pin cushion over here. Okay. And I'm going to start at one of those overlaps, and then we're going to sew over it, sew forward over it with the 1/4 inch seam to the other pin here. That's where the other one is. And then I'm going to back up over it. I'm using that cotton thread, and it's not super strong, so I was having trouble with breakage here, so I like to sew over it like 3 times. And then you could use a triple stitch. That's the other thing you could do, is just use a triple stitch, but you don't really need a triple stitch for the rest of it. Okay, so we're going to go down here to the corner. Hopefully you can see me. I'm going to get a little closer here. Okay, oops, got a little close. Back up a stitch. Okay, we're going to go down the other side. Whoops. Boy, I didn't do very well pinning, did I? Put an extra pin in here. All right. I think I've made too many pillows today, guys. I've been making pillows all weekend. We even made a pillow in the event on Saturday. So I've been making pillows all weekend and pillow forms. So I've been making pillow, I make pillow forms, and I'll talk about that here in a minute because I got mine done. But I've been making pillow forms all weekend too. Okay. I'm going to go back out and come back in and see if anybody said anything. I can't really see the comments tonight. It's been hard. Okay. So we're going to go down the other side. So we're getting close to where that other overlap is. So of course we're going to sew over it. And then I'm going to back up over it again. You have to kind of help it stay straight going back again. And then I'm going to go forward again over that little overlap. And Jan, just for you, I'm pulling my pins. Aren't you proud of me? Okay, we're going to go down the other side here. Okay. So yep, so we're going to go down. Oh, we're just about there. Down the other side here. Oops. Another pin out. And then what event was it? Oh, what? I can't see who said that. I'm sorry, guys. Nothing is working tonight on Facebook. It is Facebook, so a second. Oh, was it oh, Cindy West. Cindy, it was we did a Kimberbell event. It's the 'Tis the Season to Sparkle. It was a one-day event that we did on Saturday. Online. Okay. All right, so now we're all the way around. Let's trim a couple of these little strings here. Now, the one thing that they always tell you to do, that I never do, they don't cut through your corners, because if you do, you will go through them. So I'm going to do my grandma's little trick here. Take my first finger, put it in the corner, pull the seam allowance down to the line, push the seam allowance in, and hold the corner. So I'm just holding my corner, and then I'm going to flip it right side out. You have to be a little careful with these because, there's a little twig in there, so just be careful. You don't bend your twig or break your little twig in there. So we're going to do all the four corners here. I'm not sure where's my pillow form. And I'll talk about the pillow forms too. I like making my own because I make them out of a nicer fabric. I make them out of like a nice quality muslin or Kona cotton, something like that. Because then they don't, I have a tendency to break through the fabric on the ones that I purchase. So I do like making my own pillow form. So I'm going to take my little point turner now. Do the little corners. And you can easily get the buttons on. Now, I can easily get the buttons on. I mean, it's going to be a little bit harder with the back on, but it's not that hard. I mean, it's open quite a ways in the back. So, okay, and then I'll give this also a little press. When you press it, be a little careful that you don't touch your applique glitter. There. All right, so there's our little pillow top. Take this tape off, and then I will finish this up and send you a picture. But there's my little tree. Isn't he cute? Such a cute project. And then I will put my little pillow form in it. I'm not going to put it in tonight, but I'm going to talk about the pillow form. So the pillow form I made out of, there it is, out of muslin. This one's cut out of muslin. And I cut my rectangle ones for all the rectangle pillows. I cut them 6 inches wide by 10 inches long. And then I take a 1/4 inch seam all the way around. And then it comes out to be, when you're finished, it's the 5.5 by 9.5. And then I just leave a little opening to stuff it. And then these fit really nicely. And then the fabric really holds up nicely. So if you need to poke it a little bit to get it in, see, it's a lot easier then. Okay, so I like to make my own pillow covers or pillow forms. And I always have stuffing around, so it works really well. Okay, so I'll finish this up tonight, but then what you're going to do is, you're going to take your little buttons and you're just going to kind of decide where you want them on your little branches and move your little branches around, and like I did on this one. And then I'll sew the buttons on. I think it turned out really cute. Do you make a pillow from each of your pillows? I do make a pillow form for each of my pillows just because I have a set for me and I have a set for the store. So I like to have, so what I normally would do if it was just me having mine, I would just make one set of pillow forms and then I would make all the little covers, and then you can just take them off every month and put them on, your same pillow forms. But I have a set at the store and I have a set at home, and so I want them all out at the same time. So yes. So I've been making, let's see, how many pillow forms have I made so far? So we've done 8 pillows. Well, by the end of December, we'll have done 8 different pillows. So I've made each one of those twice. So that's 16 pillow forms, plus the ones that I just did for January. So I've actually made 20 pillow forms and 20 pillows in the last few months. So, and all those pillow forms, but that's okay. It's been fun. And these pillow forms take me like 5 minutes to do. You just cut them out, sew them up really quick. And I think it'll be cute even without it is kind of cute even without the buttons. Yeah, it is. I like the little ribbons. It's just so cute. So yeah, but I'll put the buttons on. I'll get the buttons on it. So yes, I've made a lot of, somebody said, wow, to my, to all my pillows. So yes, I have all these little pillow forms. It has been quite the challenge getting them all done. But so this is the one for the rectangle. So again, it's 6 inches by 10 inches, and then just do a 1/4 inch seam all the way around, leave a little opening, stuff it, and then hand stitch it shut. And use a nice like muslin. This is a real nice muslin. I've used Kona cotton, that works really well. I get some of the Waverly cotton that's like Kona from Walmart, that works really well. But then you have a little better quality fabric, and then they last a lot longer. So okay. All right, so what do you think of that little pillow? Isn't it cute? This was really a fun project. I just love the little stick up the center. So I had a good time making this. It was real easy, and it goes in really easy because I like that opening like that. I might make some of the other ones like this too, because I really like that. I know they did it because of the stick, because otherwise you couldn't get it in. I know. Who would think to put a twig in an embroidery project? Only Kimberbell. They do all kinds of unusual, but for Kimberbell's known for their embellishments. So they do a lot of fun embellishments. I really like it. So okay, so what do you think? Any questions? So next week we're going to work on the live class will be on the little square one, and we're going to do the little this little tag, and then I'm going to show you how to put the little pillow, finish it. And then in the video that I made in advance, I'll upload it right after class. I actually show you how to piece the whole top and then do the ribbon. But I didn't, because I didn't have enough time to do everything in one class. So I just videoed the piecing part, because some of you I know don't really piece. So I thought maybe that might be the harder part for you. And that gave you a little more detail on that. So that's all videoed, and that will be next week. So we'll do the little tag in the live class, and then I'll just put it together. I'll show you how to make the little bow and glue it on and everything. Okay. And that'll be the live class. And then I'll put the piecing part up right afterwards. Okay. So just a second, let me switch my camera back here so we can say goodbye. Maybe I can. We'll see. Oops. I have trouble getting it to go. There we go. And okay. So anybody have any questions? Isn't that adorable? It was really fun. I just really enjoyed making these a lot. The Christmas ones were so cute. And so next week will be the last live class for a month. Jan's going to take a month off of live classes, but I will upload 2 classes during that time, and then be preparing for the ones for January and February. So that's what I'm going to do during that time, and have Christmas and stuff with my dad, which will be fun. And then, so if you have any questions, email me, call me at the store, get me through Facebook Messenger, whatever. And I will see you all next week, and we will be making the little present pillow. So this is really fun. This will be the next one. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good evening.